Я в истерике кружилась мама Валя. На заднем фоне замер папа Толя. В радиусе метров воцарился жесточайший хаос. Когда всем понятно стало, сын остался без диплома. Мама, не кричи, хватит плакать, не смей. Я не спорю, надо, но послушай, отец есть. У меня своя волна, и на своей волне меня где-то поджидает успех. Боже, как хотел я увидеть свет, и как посчитал бы нужным жить, мечтал. И вот однажды, как обычно, я летал во сне. Вдруг увидел солнце и тогда себе сказал: я выбираю жить в Каире, я выбираю жить в Каире, я выбираю жить в Каире, я выбираю жить в Каире. Это был сон, в котором я не прогорал, не огорчал родных и не нуждался ни в чем, в котором мне не пришлось скрывать глаза и лгать давним знакомым, мол, в жизни моей все хорошо. В моем рюкзаке пару маек, носки, и пускай начало оставляет желать лучшего. Все, кто меня помнит, знают, я не был таким, а значит и у вас получится. Ведь все, что я хотел, это видеть свет, и как посчитал бы нужным жить, мечтал. И вот однажды, как обычно, я летал во сне. Вдруг, услышав музыку, я сам себе сказал: я выбираю жить в Каире, я выбираю жить в Каире, я выбираю жить в Каире, я выбираю жить в Каире. Боже, как хотел я увидеть свет, и как посчитал бы нужным жить, мечтал. И вот однажды, как обычно, я летал во сне. Вдруг увидел солнце и тогда себе сказал: я выбираю жить в Каире, я выбираю жить в Каире, я выбираю жить в Каире, я выбираю
So as we're getting ready to launch the Polaron G2 rocket, we decided to make a smaller version first. This is the Axion G2 that we've flown previously with smaller boosters. What we're using for this test are the lower half of the Polaron G2 boosters, and we're also testing the new retaining mechanism for the boosters. We haven't tested this one yet at full pressure, and we also wanted to test the synchronization of the launcher itself. The clamps themselves are made out of aluminium with steel pins, and also the sustainer clamp is made out of aluminium with steel loops. There's a lot of force that's transferred, and that's why we're using steel for that. At full pressure, 250 psi, there's about 340 newtons that's passing through that connection, and that's shared amongst 2 pins per booster. So all up, at full pressure, that's about 1,000 newtons that's pushing up on this ring. For this reason, we have a thrust ring, which is made out of fiberglass, it's about 2 millimeters high, that's glued to the sustainer, and that transfers the force between the clamp and the sustainer. And the same for the boosters, except there the thrust ring's on the other side because the force is acting in the other direction, and that stops the clamps from sliding off. There's a second pair of clamps up here, and they're responsible for keeping the boosters aligned with the sustainer. So during boost, they're not actually transferring force up here, they're just keeping everything aligned. On the final boosters, they'll be located at the very top, but for here at the moment. For this test, we've got the parachutes mounted on the side of the rocket, but for the final rocket, they'll be mounted in the space between the booster segments. And the parachute is simply held in with a kind of like a door hinge mechanism. So as the booster releases and the sustainer pulls the wire out, parachute falls out.
The Axion rocket we are testing is on the left, and the final Polaron G2 rocket is on the right. To test the rocket, we drove to New South Wales Rocketry Association's new high-power launch site, about 6 hours out of Sydney. For the first test, we used 2.1 litres of water in each booster and 2.3 litres with foam in the sustainer. As we got up to around 140 psi, the main nozzle started leaking, but we continued until about 180, and we launched just before we lost too much water from the sustainer.
4, 3, 2, 1, go!
The flight went well otherwise, and the rocket reached 794 feet.
Nice job, George.
Thanks.
Excellent. Well done.
We set the rocket up for a second go and replaced the main stage nozzle seal, and this time it held. We managed to get all the way up to 200 psi, but what we didn't see from the launch position was that one of the boosters also had developed a leak and lost about half the water before launch. The second problem was that another booster released just slightly too late and as a result tumbled away from the rocket. And just to add insult to injury, the high angle of attack caused by weathercocking and the asymmetric thrust made the last booster separate sideways and break off a fin.
4, 3, 2, 1, go!
The Sustainer still powered up to 789 feet and landed safely under parachute. We learned some important lessons from this flight and will make the necessary modifications for the next flight.